A woman who at least pretended that her life was ruined because somebody had alleged that she had a relationship at some point with Bill Clinton.
That's a clip from a new film by our panelist Dinesh D'Souza, Hillary's America. It covers what he calls the secret racist past of the Democratic Party.
50 lashes.
The Democrats support slavery.
They did. Why is this relevant? It's not the same Democrats today.
Well, let's start with this. If you were to say to the ordinary American, did you know that the Democratic Party was not merely the party of slavery, but the party of segregation, of Jim Crow? Every segregation law was passed by a Democratic legislature. The Democrats were the party of the Ku Klux Klan, of lynching.
Americans don't know that.
They don't know that, right? If you go on to
but
say...
those people are dead.
Well, yes, but number one, even the civil rights movement, which supplies the moral capital for what Democrats say that they believe now, right? They say, we did the civil rights movement. Look it up, John. More Republicans proportionally voted for the Civil Rights Act of '64, the Voting Rights Act of '65, and the Fair Housing Bill of '68 than Democrats. Here's my point. The past matters because the past is drawn upon to claim moral capital for the present. That's how the Democrats get to say, we're the party of equality, we're the party of the little man, we fought for blacks. No. The main opposition to civil rights came from the Democratic Party.
And I bet Democrats are mostly movie critics. Movie critics are mostly Democrats because do you ever use the website Rotten Tomatoes to get movie reviews? I do because I think it's the best guide.
It gives you a tomato meter score, averaging what critics think. 83% is this week's score for Star Trek. But more reliable, I think, is the audience score, whether viewers liked it. Now, in most cases, as here for Star Trek, critic and viewer scores are similar. Here they are for The Secret Life of Pets. But look at the reviews for Hillary's America. Film critics hated it. 4% is a remarkably low score. It's an embarrassment to propaganda films, a dull grab bag of stale talking points, big lies from the lunatic right. But now look at the audience score, 81%. Thousands of viewers voted and said things like, revealing lesson in U.S. history, moving documentary.
So I guess the audience matters more to you, and you've made $5 million to date. But it's just amazing, the difference. The professional critics. What's that about?
Well, for me, frankly, it's fun to read the critics because they're on the left. They see the movie, it discombobulates them precisely because it runs against their narrative so dramatically. And so they thrash around and they use all the big words they can. It's agitprop. This man is paranoid. He's delusional. But the one thing they can't do is find anything factually wrong in the movie. And I make all these startling claims in the movie. I say that in 1860, the year of the Civil War, no Republican owned a slave. Zero. All the slaves in the United States were owned by Democrats. Now, that's a startling claim. You could refute it by giving me a list of a half dozen Republicans who own slaves, but no one has yet to produce it.
They do say it's historical fiction, but they haven't found any specific fact to contradict. Well, let's talk about you personally. You ought to be able to know what the facts are there. His movie starts with a reenactment of his experience in jail.
I wonder what way of life got these guys here.
Murder.
Get him a bar fight. And I set him on fire.
What are you in here for? A friend of mine was running for office, and I gave her more than I was allowed to give.
Now, that was a reenactment, obviously, but it describes something that did happen. You broke the law by doing something terrible. You supported a political candidate.
I gave $20,000 to a college friend of mine running for the Senate. I had no corrupt motive. I was just trying to help a longtime friend. No American has been locked up.
The law says you can't pay more than $5,000.
It was $10,000 for two people. And so I exceeded the campaign finance limit. But see, normally it goes to the Federal Election Commission. You get a fine. But in this case, they prosecuted me to the... But, you know, I took the lemon. I turned it into lemonade. When you get into the lockup, the first thing they do ask you is, what are you in for? So that incident, although recreated, actually did happen.
Thank you, Dinesh. I was going to play one more clip. I mean, I have trouble when you're saying that Hillary in the movie knew what Bill was going to do, that he was going to have affairs, and she manipulated him? You don't know that.
Of course I do. Look, John, the Hillary story has been told in innumerable biographies. Now, very early on, when they were in Arkansas, Betsy Wright, campaign manager for Bill, would come to Hillary and provide her with long lists of women that Bill had been involved in. Hillary hired private investigators.
I have to stop you. We're out of time for that. It's in his